Thinking about a new bike? Maybe you just need new wheels. Here's why upgrading to good carbon wheels may be the way to go.
So you've been riding a lot, your skills are getting better, and you're trying to decide, am I ready for a new bike? Maybe you even went shopping a little bit and you saw the price of your dream bike and you're like, ooh, maybe not quite yet. That's actually a good thing, because one of the best things you can do for your bike, assuming you love it and it's meeting your needs, you're just ready for a little bit more performance out of your bike, is to upgrade your wheels. Carbon wheels really do make a huge difference. Most bikes come with aluminum wheels unless you buy a really high-end bike. So most likely you're running aluminum wheels. Why should you go for carbon wheels? One of the first things you hear is that they're lighter, and yes, they're generally lighter. I mean, not if you get like a super overbuilt downhill wheel, but they're lighter. But what does that mean for you as a rider? Well, your wheel is all that rolling resistance, and taking weight off of the rolling mechanism on your bike is really noticeable. It reduces the inertia of your bike when it slows to when you want to speed it up. So if you're someone who rides in the dirt, what you'll really notice is how much more easily it is to accelerate your bike. And you'll also really notice this when you come out of corners. That acceleration is pretty darn sweet. So not only is it like, oh, my bike weighs a little bit less, but it really does affect the performance, having lighter wheels, less rolling resistance for you to manage. When you get a carbon wheel made by a more high-end company like Knox, one thing you're paying for is that they use different types of carbon fibers and special weave patterns to really affect the property of the wheels. One thing that will happen is the wheels are a whole lot more stiff because of that than you're going to find in aluminum. What that means for you as a rider is the wheels feel a lot more lively, a lot more responsive. When you ride on the dirt, you really notice that when you're doing any of the kind of like techie bike maneuvery things. So when I'm pumping terrain, the bike responds a lot more quick to my pumps. When I'm doing steering maneuvers, same thing. The bike just responds faster, better, and more precisely with a stiffer wheel. Another thing that happens when you have a thoughtful carbon fiber layup is that the wheel will actually absorb some of the impact. What that means for you as a rider is you feel less vibrations. When I watch riders transition onto carbon wheels, what I notice is they suddenly become a lot more confident piloting their bikes at high speeds. You may not think that you've got vibration in your bike, but when they're reduced, you have just a lot more confidence. It's easier to see. You have a lot more trust that your bike is tracking exactly where you want to, and that precision and that feeling that you're in control allows you to ride much more comfortably and comfortably at high speeds. So pretty awesome. Another thing you're going to notice with carbon wheels is the rims are wider, and this works really well again with tires on the dirt. It's going to spread out your tire more and provide some more stability for the sidewalls, and that extra stability on the sidewalls makes it so you're a lot less likely to burp your tire. It'll also let you run lower PSI more safely. And again, when you work with a company that's really thoughtful about how they lay up their carbon, like Knox puts extra weaving, I'm not even sure which type of fibers, right at that rim edge, because they know that's where you're most likely going to strike your rim on a hard object like a rock, and it's going to provide it a lot more support and prevention of having it crack. If you do crack a carbon wheel, it's a bummer. So make sure you know the warranty policy from your company. Since I started riding really nicely built carbon wheels, I have not broken any, but earlier in my career, I rode any wheels I could get my hands on and rode for a few pretty unreliable, cheap carbon brands. And I'm a light rider, and I was breaking wheels right and left. So pretty unlikely with a good build of a carbon wheel. But if you do, a company like Knox, no questions asked, send them the wheel, they rebuild you a new one. It's pretty awesome. Another thing when you upgrade your wheels is you're going to have an opportunity to get an upgraded hub as well. Hubs really matter. What you feel when you upgrade your hubs is that you've got a lot more points of engagement. So when you are coasting on your bike, all those clicks you heal when your rear hub is just freewheeling down, that's all the points of engagement. There's a whole lot more of them in a higher end hub than you're gonna find in just kind of an entry level hub that comes stock on most mountain bikes, gravel bikes, whatever. What you feel as a rider is a more instantaneous response to the bike when you put pressure on the pedal, because you don't have this little wasted moment that happens there of when you're putting pressure on and your foot is moving on the pedal, but you're waiting to engage one of the pulls. It's much more instantaneous with more engagement points. When you're working on some of your more tech skills, this really is noticeable when you're doing ratcheting maneuvers, if you're trying to do manuals, even when you have like pause moments going up technical features and you just have like that micro moment where you take the torque off the pedal and then you go back to apply it. It's almost instantaneous when you have a hub with a lot more engagement points. I use Project 321 hubs on all of my wheel builds, and I work with them because those pawls, those things that do the engagements, instead of using springs like other hub companies, they use magnets. And what's so cool about the magnets is magnets don't wear out, whereas springs over time, that rebound just gets diminished as the material fatigues. Magnets don't experience that, so the investment that you've got in your hubs is going to last you a whole lot longer with magnets than you're going to have with springs. So that's my plug for Project 321. They're pretty awesome hubs. But anyways, if you are not quite sure what to do and you think you're ready for a new bike, really take a look at your wheels. It can really increase the performance of your existing bike by upgrading your wheels. Keep your old wheels. And then down the road, when you do sell that bike, you can sell it with those old aluminum wheels on it. They now don't have much use, so they're pretty sweet. And put your carbon wheels on your new mountain bike, gravel bike, whatever it is you're getting into. So carbon wheels, this really is a worthwhile upgrade.